What's up, guys? I'm back. I wanted to do a kind of an aftermath video and a follow-up to last night's video, and just kind of say a few things throughout the day. Today, it's Tuesday, of course, and I'm a 9 to 6 guy, Monday through Friday. So throughout the day, I was seeing the notifications come across my phone, and I was just blown away once again by the concern and the generosity and the just the kindness in this community, in the RC, the RC world. It's been something I've never experienced before. Prior to this, I was as far as hobbies are concerned, I was basically always a car guy. I've owned more than a few Mustang Fox bodies, and spent my younger years in my 20s and into my 30s drag racing. Lost my license one too many times and paid tens of thousands of dollars in fines, and God, I could go on for days. But that was about the only hobby that I really ever was involved in. And man, people were just terrible. Everybody was terrible, and I just never experienced anything like this before, where people kind of stick together and actually are concerned and willing to help. And I guess that's part of the reasons why I'm still making these videos, because I know people enjoy them. Some of the guys are learning from them, watching me learn, because I'm still relatively new to all this. Prior to Christmas of 2015, so we'll say 2016 was my first fifth scale and first experience with it. Prior to that, I had about 6 months worth of experience with these two 10th scales, the Traxxas Revo and the T-Max, and I overhauled both of them and rebuilt them, bolt by bolt. That was where I really found the love for this hobby. And the nitro was just really kind of a pain in the butt, so I was looking for something a little bit better and bigger, and more my speed, being I've always been a car guy and a mechanic. So fifth scale was, it was the answer. It was the way to go. But of course, like most of us, I know, I knew a little bit about engines, and I was definitely mechanically inclined to begin with. But batteries, I didn't know anything about batteries really, other than maybe a regular car battery. So that was really something I had to learn about. And initially, I think for a lot of us, we get these. They come with the wall charger. We plug it in. We use the little handy dandy port that's right there on the top of the battery box, and we charge it. Why else would there be a friggin' port there? Of course we're going to charge it with the battery in it. And I did that for God knows how long, and I always had issues with the runtime. I started learning, by watching videos and reading and listening, that my packs should be lasting longer. Like, they should be lasting longer than a tank of friggin' gas. Like, I think I'd upgraded. It came with a 2,000 milliamp pack, and I bought a 4,500 or 4,800 milliamp pack from Roven. Those lime green kind of hump packs they sell. Well, I bought a 4,800 one, and I'm using the wall charger to charge it. Well, the fucking thing dies, and in less than a tank of gas, I put it on the charger. The red light turns on. It's charging. Less than 30 minutes later, the green light's on, as if it's charged. I put it in the truck. Of course, it runs for, half a tank or just over a tank. A 4,800 milliamp battery should last all day, So, and I know that now. I didn't know that then. That's when I started doing some reading, and I realized that I was really dropping the ball as far as charging my batteries were concerned with that terrible wall charger. So if you guys are still using that and it's a matter of money, again, I'm the guy to talk to when it comes to doing this on a budget. And I think I catch a lot of slack for that, but this here, this is a clone version of it, the IMAX P6 AC dual power. It comes in a few different wattage ratings. I believe there's an 80 watt one and a 50 watt one. I think this one here is the I knew what it was too, and I don't anymore. I can't remember what the wattage is on this one. But I think I paid like $30 for it, and it came with all the different harnesses to plug in different batteries. It didn't come with the balancing stuff, the LiPo balancing stuff, but I didn't need it. You can get these on AliExpress for like $15. It came with the power cord. I know some people talked about it not coming with that. And I found it on Amazon Prime for like $30. So all the cutoff options in it were huge. I just had to learn how to program it. And if you go to, who is it? Killer RC has a video, and they sell it's got the same system internally, same interface. So they sell the similar charger for about $50. I'm sure it's a little better built, but it's the same program, you know. So you can watch his video and learn exactly how to charge a 6-volt NYMA, you know, nickel metal hydride pack. If you haven't watched that and you have some questions about charging your hump pack, you should watch that video, because it's definitely it's really good. You can just look up Killer RC hump pack or 6-volt Killer RC, type that in or something to that effect. So yeah, what I wanted to talk about was some of the things I learned as far as my post on Facebook about this whole nightmare. The comments were just, they were going on and on from, you know, all different aspects of it. And I wanted to talk a little bit about, maybe recognize some of the comments that were made on the video itself. You know, I wanted to acknowledge some of you guys and just show my appreciation, because this has been something I've been dwelling on all day long, all night long last night, all day long today. I could have lost everything, guys. And it was a matter of trust, me trusting. It was a matter of my ignorance. There was a matter of a number of things. And I really don't think I explained that well enough or portrayed that well enough in the video I made. I mean, I was taking the time to explain the whole telemetry situation and how it led up to what I think was a malfunction. But guys, I was sick to my stomach, and I still am, because this could have all been avoided. For one, if you're still using the wall charger, upgrade to a better charger. Number two, stop charging your pack in your truck. If you're running LiPo, you definitely should always be using a LiPo bag. I know a lot of guys out there are using LiPos. I don't run them for that reason. They're dangerous. And of course, now I know all batteries are dangerous. But the LiPos are especially dangerous, and you should be using a bag, and you should, you know, it should just be charged properly with the proper cutoffs, taking the proper safety precautions. And if you don't know enough about them, read. I read as much as I could about NYMA batteries before I bought that 6-volt hump pack from Venom, and it was an absolute night and day difference. My rig had so much power in the steering that I didn't even realize that these Bajas could turn like that, and had that. I didn't know that the servo had that kind of strength. I just assumed the servos are shit servos. That's what everybody tells you. Oh, Rovin's shit servo, shit servo. Sure, that servo is not shit. It's strong as hell, especially with the upgraded wiper arm setup, the factory wiper arm setup, and the factory Rovin shit battery. Yeah, it's going to seem like your servo sucks. So that's just something to think about. But you know, maybe take a look at your rig if you have a stock Rovin and you're still running that setup, having some issues with your steering. That's an easy fix. But if you're charging your battery in your rig, you're running so many risks. Of course, destroying all your electronics, potentially your servos. In the fifth scale hobby, we are messing with high-powered batteries, and we're messing with gasoline at all times. So two of the most dangerous possible things we could be messing with, we're messing with constantly. And that in and of itself should just be a reminder that we need to take the right precautions. I read comments about guys that were seeing the post and saying, well, I still use my wall charger and I leave it on all night long. You know, I go to bed, I charge it, and I charge it while I'm sleeping. Other guys are saying, don't ever leave a battery unattended. Come on, guys. Other guys are saying, don't ever charge it. You should never charge it in your truck. Like it was, like nobody in the world has ever done this. Guys, the damn thing has a port right on the top of it saying charge. You know what I mean? Everybody's done it. And initially, I wasn't doing it because I had a bad experience with the roving battery. The first time I charged it with the wall charger, it got really hot. So I started taking the pack out and charging it separately for what it was worth. With that piece of junk wall charger, it would charge for like a half hour and say it was done. And of course, when the green light comes on, that means it's cut off. It has a cutoff in it, so it's not going to charge no matter whether or not you plug it back in or not. So long story short, upgrading the charger, upgrading the Venom battery, night and day difference in the performance and the actual charger itself. It allows you to see the exact amount of milliamps you're putting into the battery, and you can set it as a cutoff. You can also set it as with a cutoff timer. The roving battery that I initially had in this, the 2000 milliamp one, when I went to charge it, it would only take about, I think it was taking like 980 milliamps, and it would cut off. It wouldn't take anything more than that. It would say it was full. And that's because these nickel metal hydride batteries have a memory base to them. And the battery itself had a bad experience and had a bad life experience with the wall unit, the wall charging unit that I was using all that time on it. So by the time I got a decent charger, that basically that battery wasn't capable of performing like it should. So it's sitting in a drawer now. I don't use it, but and the 4800 milliamp one, milliamp one I bought, that one there got so hot. I trying to charge that one properly. It got so hot that I ended up throwing that one away as well. So the Venom one was like night and day. It was charging cool as a cucumber the whole time I had it. I had charged it 3 or 4 times because, again, you guys know I haven't really ran this rig. I got it out maybe once or twice, and then I had to work the bugs out of the build. So that battery pack had only been charged maybe 3-4 times, and each time it was charged outside of the truck because I was still in that habit. Last night was the first time I decided I trusted that battery to charge it in the rig, in the battery tray. All I had was the battery tray cover popped. That was it. And then I walk out to that mess and find out that my whole house could have burnt down. What happened, I don't know. Like I said in the video, I think maybe there was a malfunction in the battery. And the last time I had checked the charger, because I did check on it last night, I checked on it when it was in the discharge phase, because I run a cycle every time I charge them, no matter whether or not the battery's dead, completely dead or not. I run a discharge on it, and then I have it set for a 2 or a 5 minute window of cool down before it goes into charge mode. And the last time I had looked at it, it had 0.11 volts left to, or 0.11 milliamps left to go before it was going to be totally dead and empty. And then it would say empty cell, and it would go into the cooling mode for a few minutes, and then it would begin charging. At that point, I have it set for a 200-minute timer. And I know I was up around 100 minutes. I do a very slow discharge and charge. Well, that would mean I had approximately 100 minutes left to go before it would cut off, regardless of whether or not it brought the pack all the way up to 5,000 milliamps. And so I know that all that happened, this mess happened within a little over an hour or an hour. So that should just go to show you how leaving a battery unattended, how quickly it can happen. So just, again, let that be a reminder. Don't do it. I'm actually going to go ahead and buy a LiPo bag. Some of the guys said that they do it. Even with nickel metal hydride, I'm going to charge it in a bag. It's always going to be charged, of course, outside of the truck. And I am going to buy, which I didn't know was so cheap, the temperature sensor for this. It's $5, and it's the same style port as, see that one right there in the center, just like a servo connection. Plugs right in there, and there's 2 different styles. One that wraps around your battery and has a sensor on it, and the other one's just a probe. I found 2 of them on eBay or AliExpress for like $3 to $5. And that there will also give me the ability to have a third cutoff based on temperature, and you can set the temp that you want it to cut off at. So I recommend buying that as well. As far as the mess, so again, those are some of the precautions I'm going to take going forward, guys. And again, I appreciate all the comments. Somebody made a comment about, I'll take the time to go through them here, just because I want to acknowledge some of you guys, and I really appreciate you guys. But some of the comments I was just blown away by. One from a guy named Mark Baja, who said not to try to salvage anything, that I would be really sorry. And I agree with you, Mark, because as far as salvaging the kill switch, I mentioned in the video, maybe I can salvage the Killer RC kill switch. This is the most expensive thing in the battery box. But do you really want to salvage something like this and take the chance of it being potentially damaged and malfunction in the future? I don't think so. And I think I did mention that in the video, that that's something I probably shouldn't do. So I agree with you, Mark. I do. I don't want to end up sorry. I don't want to end up having any issues. The speaker itself is in really bad shape. You can see it's all warped and the wires are really badly burnt. The actual hard line that runs to, or the ignition switch that runs up to the kill switch, the coating is burnt right off the wires. Hope you guys can see this. And I also have the LED light mounted in the top of the cover. So technically the switch looks like it's in good shape. I'm not going to throw it away. I'm going to go ahead, and I found on Killer RC's website that you can buy a new lead wire, you can buy a new speaker, and you can of course buy a new LED light plug-in for the Super B switch. And these are all, you know, $8 and $6 here, $8 there. So I can potentially, instead of having to solder anything or cut anything, I can just unplug these, plug new ones in. This is the only thing that I'm assuming would have to be soldered, is this line here, the ignition line, because it runs all the way down to the board, and I'm not going to mess with that. I'll just cut it after the issue, or after the burnt stuff. So hopefully I can salvage that. So while I agree with you, Mark, having had a chance to actually look at everything close, I think it's worth taking a look at potentially ordering some replacement parts. The line that runs into the receiver is in good shape, just a little discolored. The receiver itself didn't get touched at all. My steering servo appears to be in one piece, no melting, but the wire took a bit of abuse. That's the only abuse I could find. That's the only, and that there is actually a tear from, I'm assuming, being pinched, but it's got some chaw marks in it. So I'm going to try it and see if it still works, because I can't afford to buy new servos. Otherwise I would already own upgraded servos. The Turnigy on-off, remote on-off switch, which is what I use to turn the front bumper lights on and off remotely. The wire was sitting on top of the battery, and it's pretty badly burnt, but the switch itself is still intact, and the portion that runs to the receiver is all still intact. It just looks like these wires here I would have to replace. So again, we'll see. I'm of course going to test everything and make sure it works right. Otherwise, I'll just buy a new one. I mean, this I believe was like $6 or $7. So this here just goes to show you how hot this got between. And again, guys, I know how much of a pain in the ass it is to take the battery out of this box, and that's one of the reasons why I didn't pull it out last night. Because again, you have to pry the battery door away from the gas tank with a flat head. They just don't make it easy. So that port is so inviting. You're just like, yes, I want to charge you, and I want to plug you in right there and walk away. Well, that's how hot that got up against the gas tank. This thing is just smoked. I mean, I don't know how this didn't cause a fire. I really don't. I really don't. All this around the grommet there was a bunch of fuel sitting there. The heat must have been pulling it. And I can't believe that it wasn't worse than it was. I'm so thankful. So yeah, this is my throttle servo. This one looks pretty badly damaged. But if I cut it back here, which is one of the reasons why I had so much wire packed in there, because they give you this goddamn 2-foot wire to fit inside that battery box when the thing is mounted right on the side of it. I don't know, it's beyond me. But yeah, that one's destroyed. So I could cut it back if I can't afford to buy a new one or don't want to spend the money. And again, I shouldn't say can't afford, because I can afford it. I don't want people to, oh, you shouldn't be in this hobby if you can't afford it. I can afford it, guys. I can definitely afford it. I'm not in any position where I can't afford things. But I have kids, and I have all the things that go along with that. I have a beautiful wife who likes to make sure that we're spending money on the right things, and I don't like throwing money at this hobby like I see some guys do, because trust me, I wouldn't mind doing it, but I just don't. I don't know. I enjoy being the underdog. I always have. I enjoy trying to make things work, and I don't know how to explain it, but I'm going to do the best I can to make what I have here work instead of just throwing it all out. And if I see any potential issues, I'm not going to take any chances. Trust me, this rig is my baby, and I'm not going to take any chances of anything malfunctioning and having to take off on me or something ridiculous like that. So just know that I don't want to be really sorry. One of the comments from a guy named Vinny says, I hope you don't mind me putting my 2 cents in, but I heard you say you charge your 5,000 milliamp at 5,000 milliamp. And I didn't say that. What I said was I charge my 5,000 milliamp at 4.5 amps. Okay? I charge it at 4.5 because I could charge it at 5 amps because it's a 5,000 milliamp. And again, if you haven't seen the Killer RC YouTube video that he explains how to use that style charger and how to charge a 6-volt NYMA pack, I recommend watching it, because that's where I learned how to do it. He says, I noticed that my packs were getting very hot when I did the same thing, which he's right. You're right, Vinny. Your packs will get hot if you charge them at the amperage that they're rated for. And you're going to get the quickest charge time if you do it that way, but the quicker the charge, the hotter the battery. So if you can afford and you have a few hours to kill, you're out in the garage, you're tinkering around, doing something, wrenching, and you can afford to kill a few hours and you're in no rush, charge it, charge a 5,000 milliamp pack at 3 amps. It's going to take longer, but it's going to get a nice, slow, good, juicy charge, and you're not going to have to worry about any heat. You shouldn't have to anyway. He wrote 105 Hobbies in Queens. I went to my hobby shop in Queens. He said charge it at half that or less. Also, I double-checked with the charger paperwork of the charger I had at the time, and it also said to charge at half the battery rating. This ended my packs from getting hot. Okay, so he's got some good advice here. He's saying and not even warm, just room temperature. I also found out that it will extend the life of the battery. And yes, I charge my batteries in the tray. I will stop doing that now. Glad you are safe. I hope this helps. P.S. I do the same for my LiPo. So Vinny Capasso has great advice for us. He tells us, guys, let's not be in such a rush and let's charge at half the capacity. And I agree with him. Right on, Vinny. I'm with you, bro. I am going to start charging a lot slower. I'm going to make sure when I come out into the garage, it's the first thing I plug in if I know I'm going to be out here for a couple hours. So as opposed to just going a half a volt or half an amp under and doing 4.5 amps on a 5,000 milliamp battery. And we got Diesel Boy 221 says, I'm not trying to be a smart ass. I feel your pain, but I was wondering why not charge the battery out of the battery compartment away from the truck. Well, Diesel Boy, I mentioned that in the video, bro. That's what I was saying at the end of the video. Guys, don't charge your battery in your truck. So go to the end of that video and you'll see that was my point. And that's what I've always done. But that battery, even at 4.5 amps, that Venom battery charged cool as a cucumber. Like Vinny was saying, it was literally room temperature. Boom, 5,000 milliamps. An hour later, room temperature, the battery. 4 times that I charged it. And I trusted it. I just said, wow, this battery is awesome. I guess awesome batteries are awesome. I should have bought one of these things a long time ago. Those roving shit hump packs that I was running had me thinking that they're all pieces of shit. and then I needed to buy a lipo. That Venom pack, you know, had me thinking the exact opposite, and I put my trust in it. So that was the message in the video, but I was letting everybody know, don't do that. That was my first time doing it. I know everybody does it. I know they do. So stop doing it. Let's see. On a happier note, I just ordered my X2 Deluxe about 20 minutes ago. Any word of advice? That's from Diesel Boy. My advice, well, I could go on, but I recommend going back, and my advice would be to watch my older videos and some of my more recent ones as far as the X2 is concerned, and congratulations, because that's an absolutely awesome rig. It's my favorite RC. This is my baby, but that's my favorite RC, no doubt. I've had the most fun with that truck, and I imagine I always will. Let's see. Julian Motley says the same thing happened to mine, but I wasn't charging it. I was out running it, turned it off, and put it in the back of my truck to meet someone. About 5 minutes later, it was on fire. Now this Julian, he's talking about a Naima battery on fire, guys. What the fuck? See, this is how dangerous this stuff is. So again, I'm glad I made this video. One of the guys asked, was it a Rovin pack? One Grow Room asked, was it a Rovin pack? Use LiPo charging battery. I'm using a DDM battery pack. The DDM battery pack I've heard good things about, and no, it wasn't a Rovin battery. Like I said, I ditched that a while ago when this build was getting close to its end, and I bought the Venom 6-volt 5,000 milliamp. Just a bunch of comments, super generous. I mean, seriously, guys, I can't say enough. I appreciate it. I am safe. My family's safe. I am lucky my whole car is in toast. I'm lucky my whole house is in toast. Some of the guys that, again, thanking me for sharing, let me know how lucky I am. And yeah, I do. I know how lucky I am. Some of the guys saying they look forward to the SCZ running. Me too, man. I definitely do. He's considering buying one. Lets me know not to give up. Trust me, I'm not giving up, brother. This is just a bit of a setback. It's, of course, a bit major when it comes to the budget that I like to keep myself on, but I'll, you know, I'll get through it. My buddy Laurent, my brother from down under, he says, geez, you do things for views, mate. You think I did this for views? Holy shit, that would be a great idea, though. He's awesome. He likes to crack jokes. He's a good guy. If you haven't seen him, you guys need to check out his videos. I'm sure you've seen him, though. He makes some of the best videos on YouTube as far as fifth scale is concerned, in my opinion. He's not just throwing money at his rigs either. He likes to take shit apart, make it work. If it breaks, try to make it work again. And he's got some great builds, and he does a lot of running videos. And he does killer running videos, too. He gets good shots. He's got a nice camera and good editing, too. So he writes that he's surprised that it caught on fire. He is concerned that the telemetry wires, did they potentially cause it? He lets me know that I need to keep my chin up. And that's something that I convinced myself I will do. So again, I appreciate that, Laurent. And that's why a guy, Elite RC, says that's why I don't use the battery area for a battery. Electric wiring don't belong with a battery. Use a battery tray connected to the outside plastic that you can take off and never leave the battery on the car. Interesting. He writes, by the way, if you can't salvage those servos, I have the exact same servos collecting dust if you need them, but I won't be able to send them until next week. See what I'm talking about, guys? That's just serious, serious generosity right there. I may take you up on that, Elite RC. That sucks, bro. At least nothing happened to you or your house or your family. That's from Richard McGeady. Ryan, be happy your garage didn't burn down. Tell me about it. Yes, you're right. The rest can be replaced. I mean, again, I just, I don't even feel like I deserve this. You guys are awesome and always have been. I appreciate appreciate the love, guys. I really do. So stay tuned. I will get this thing running. You guys will see this little SCZ bitch move. I'm telling you, this motor is a monster. Just starting it up the other day and letting it run for the 10-15 minutes that I did. Actually, I think I let it run for like 20 minutes. And I got to see the 9500 spring in action, which was the first time that FS clutch has seen the bell. And that was pretty cool. It's so different having a 9500 spring. I just wasn't even thinking about it when I revved it. But when I initially started, eased into the throttle, it was just kind of wah. And then I really had to tap it to get it to bang and let the tires, rip the tires loose, for it to grab. It had that higher grab point between, say, 8,000 and 9,500, or if you're running a 7,000 spring or a 6,000 spring, chances are they start grabbing, a few thousand RPMs below that. But with a brand new DDM 9,500 spring, I swear that thing didn't start grabbing until at least 8,500 RPMs. And it's a big difference. You definitely, you notice the stall there, you know what I mean? And the motor just felt so snappy. I put the carb back to stock settings for an 1107, and I'm going to go from that base tune, the next time I have it out. The last time I took this out, the first time I tried to tune it, when the build was initially finished, I had no idea what I was doing when it came to tuning. Well, I mean, I had a clue, but I was just being too aggressive with my adjustments. I needed to make finer and smaller adjustments, much smaller increments. And I know now, so I'm looking forward to getting it back out there. So I know this was a long one, guys. I appreciate everything, and stay tuned. So see you soon, guys.